handled. Maria Cardona was the senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Lanny Davis was the special counsel during the Clinton administration. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Lanny, you think about the fact that Huma Weiner works for Hillary Clinton. No doubt she's been a good person to sort of lean on and talk to during all of this, I would imagine. And we also have heard that Bill Clinton has talked to Anthony Weiner about this. What are the lessons learned from all of that?
Well, first of all, my heart goes out to Huma, who I've known for many years, and I also feel sympathy for the pain that Anthony Weiner is going through. He's been the harshest critic on himself, and he's apologized, and I accept that apology, and he's got a lot of work to do at home with Huma and with himself. I'm just not sure about the unseemliness of Democrats racing to the microphones to call for somebody to resign. Last time I looked, when you're looking at someone in an ICU hemorrhaging, you don't ask them to commit suicide. You give them a little time. I also don't hear one single Republican calling on David Vitter to resign and focusing this just on something that was a tragic weakness that President Clinton owned up to, and only looking at that example when Republicans sanctimoniously have a United States Senator who himself suffered, and I felt sympathy for him as well.
Of course, Lanny, everything you say is true, but the reason that
obvious.
The Clintons are brought up in this situation is because, Anthony Weiner reportedly turned to Bill Clinton to get some advice on this, and they know each other. He officiated at the Weiner's wedding, so that is why, that's why I think that connection has been made.
I'm only making the point I haven't heard the name David Vitter as another example of someone who didn't resign. Not one Republican
we've absolutely talked about
not
David Vitter.
one Republican ever asked him to resign.
Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. And this whole kind of thing works differently in every single case. I'm fascinated, actually, by the sort of stick-to-itiveness that Anthony Weiner is, and it's not surprising, Maria, that he's exhibiting this. Anybody who's ever spoken with him knows he's a very tough guy, and he looks to be hanging in there and doing quite well in the polls, I would point out. Marist poll has him at 56%. What are the lessons learned from the past on this? And Maria, do you think he should hang in there?
The lessons learned, Martha, are the fact that you don't lie to the press. And this, I think, is a big difference in terms of, what has happened recently with others of those kinds of scandals. I think that has been sort of issue number one for me in terms of why I think he should resign right now. Obviously, because you don't come out and for a week lie to the press, lie to the public, lie to your constituents. You don't go do a round of interviews with every single network and continue that lie. Clearly, the only reason he came clean is because he knew he was going to get caught.
It's very interesting. You think about the Ethics Committee, and we looked at some cases this morning. Maxine Waters has never been called in front of the Ethics Committee. That has been indefinitely postponed, it appears. Eric Massa was supposed to go before the Ethics Committee. He resigned, and then they dropped it. Charlie Rangel was censured by the Ethics Committee. He went on to continue in his position. And I was reading one report this morning that said the Ethics Committee, why would anyone fear them? I mean, they basically, it's where ethics issues go to die, according to one report this morning. Lanny, what do you think about that?
Well, look, I'm only commenting on a double standard. I'm not defending Mr. Weiner's conduct. I agree with Maria that lying to your colleagues and to the media is a pretty bad thing to do, and that it was the substance of his apology. I'm sure Maria doesn't have a short memory that many people, including President Clinton, was not truthful for a long period of time about one subject that everybody identifies with as embarrassment to the point of not telling the truth. And the people in his congressional district speak a lot louder than a lot of sanctimonious talk from Republicans about lying when we have David Vitter, who never owned up to what he was doing until he got caught. And I think that we should be a little bit more forgiving about this particular subject, but I agree with Maria. What he did was a terrible thing, and he said it was a terrible thing.
Well, I think everyone asks themselves, when you look at these situations, you say, if this person were teaching a class in my town, would I want them to go back into the classroom? And do I want them to go back to Congress? And that's a question that the voters will all have to answer for themselves as they go through this process.
Martha, can I just say one last thing, which is, it's a very different time that we live in from what happened to President Clinton. We are living this 24/7, and I'm sorry, but no one, thankfully, had to deal with a picture of the president's privates on their email. That's what we're dealing with, and I think that we have to hold these officials to a higher standard. It's about time.
Lots of descriptions, though, that stayed with most people out there for quite a long time. Lanny, it's always good to have you with us. Thank you so much for coming in. Maria Cardona, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.